I got married when I was 18, had 3 kids, and then got divorced.
I got married at 19. I had 4 kids. I got divorced 10 years after I got married.
I had no idea what I'm doing. I had no idea who I am.
The question of being ready, it wasn't in our realm of like you just do, like this is part of the protocols. There was no like choice if you are ready, you're not ready. You just, you go with the flow.
For me personally, it was a disaster. It took me a while to realize that I'm alive, to realize what's happening and what is marriage.
I got my get, and 2 days after I got my get, my brother calls me. He told me like, I have a friend, whatever, he has a suggestion for you. And I told him, are you crazy? What do you mean a suggestion? I literally got like it 2 days ago, begging me. So after a while, I figured, okay, let me just do it for him. Let me get it over, done with, and then I'll just move on. And the rest was history. We went out, and I don't remember ever being so confused when coming home from that date. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was very confused because like I couldn't say no, and also like I couldn't say yes. Like we spent a lot of time. Like for me, like after the 3rd, 4th day, I knew it's gonna happen.
We are still evolving, meaning we're growing and we're getting more and more connected to a deeper and deeper level.
And there is a second chance, and the second chance is real.
Welcome back to the Stories of Hope podcast. We have a lot of new things going on here, and we saw Nachi's new studio, and this is mine. So excited to shoot for you from here. This week, we have something different than anything we have ever done. Shlome and Henchy Eckstein from the Chasidic community are pioneering to do something completely different, almost like the SOH representative, but for the Chasidic community. I'm not going to share any other details, but please know this is such a wildly important episode. And so if it hits home for you, share it with those that you think need to hear it the most, because Shlome's work must be spread like wildfire. And as always, I can't do it alone. I need your help. Of course, before we start, thank God the sun is shining, the snow is melting. Do you have your backyard party equipment, the umbrellas, the grill, the couches, the drinks, the fancy mugs that make everything a lot more exciting? Guess what? It's a one-stop shop at PZ Deals. They'll let you know where you can find the best products for the best prices. You can turn on push notifications. You can get discounts for Uber Eats, so that if you are making the party and don't want to pick up the food for the party, they got you in all departments. So download the PZ Deals app, because with PZ Deals, you'll never pay full price again. Hi, I'm Tzipora Grodko, and this is the Stories of Hope podcast. Woo! I'm so excited to be here today with Henchy and Shlome Eckstein. I know this is going to be really, really special, and I don't actually personally know so much of the detail behind your stories, but I know that the two of you have a story that is important to share. So maybe, Shlome, let's start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about your work, and then a sneak peek into what brought you here today? And then we'll go to your lovely wife.
Sure. So my name is Shlome Eckstein. I grew up in Kiryas Yoel the first 18 years of my life. Like I like to say when people ask me, where did you grow up? I like to say, like, I'm still in the process of growing up. But I was raised there in Kiryas Yoel. And I got married when I was 18 in Montreal. And I lived there for 10 years, had 3 kids, and then got divorced. And I was divorced for about 2 years. And then I met Henchy, my lovely wife.
Thank you. Okay. I'll pause you there. Henchy, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I grew up in Williamsburg, very secluded community. And I got married at 19. Then I had 4 kids. In the interim of my first marriage, I moved to Monroe for a couple of years. I got divorced 10 years after I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was also single for a little bit more over 2 years. And then I met my husband.
Okay. So I don't think any of you two know this, but I actually used to work in KJ, in Kiryas Yoel, KJ.
Oh, wow.
Ezras Cholim, right?
Oh.
Is that
the medical center
there?
Were you on NIRS there?
What'd you say?
Were you on NIRS? Or?
I was a clinician, like a therapist on staff.
Okay.
And I remember I had never heard of Monroe. I never heard of KJ. I mean, there's actually a popular like singer that's from Monroe, Andy Grammer. I don't think anyone in KJ knows who he is. He's not, I mean, he might be Jewish. I'm not sure. His content's not Jewish. And it was my first time going to Monroe. And I think that you might have the largest population of births in the country. I think it might be in Monroe. I wouldn't know. I'm not so sure. But it was so cool to learn about the community, to learn about KJ. I think there's a sign when you drive into KJ, right? That says like, these are the rules of the community.
Right.
These were respectful.
Yeah.
And I don't know what your experience was like. But I do know that just because someone was raised one way doesn't mean it reflects a whole community of people. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best way for that person. And I think that might be part of the conversation that we're having today. Correct me if I'm wrong, maybe.
I didn't prepare for it, so let's see.
Okay. So, when you got married, you said you got married at 18.
Yeah, I got engaged when I was 17 and I got married when I was 18. Yeah.
And so can you walk us through that process a little bit of what the typical shidduch process is like in KJ?
Yeah, sure. So I'm very involved in shidduchim right now. We can talk about it going forward, but you asked me like the process, how it goes usually. So I think 17 is a little bit extreme. I think most people are not getting engaged when they're 17. Most people are doing it 18, 19. My family in particular, like most of my siblings got engaged when they were 17.
Mm-hmm.
My father actually, went into the Satmaru the Berich Moshe, and he told them that when the Mishnah says Ben Shmoyne Usil Chippah, it means in the year of 17 you should already like doing shidduchim. So when you're 18 you should be ready to get married. So my father was trying to get us engaged but at the age of 17. Most of my family, like, he succeeded to.
And were you ready to start that process at 17?
Oh, so that's a hard question. I wasn't.
And she's smiling, and she's like, "Yep, you asked the good one."
I wasn't I can't even say I wasn't ready because like I wasn't aware of life in general. I didn't know myself. I didn't know the world. I didn't know what marriage is about. I didn't know I had no idea what I'm doing. I had no idea who I am. I had no idea why, when, where. I didn't know anything about me and about the world so I wouldn't say I wasn't ready.
Sorry if I'm interrupting, but the question of being ready, it wasn't in our realm of you just do, this is part of the protocols. And there was no choice. If you are ready, you're not ready. You just, you go with the flow.
And when you say there was no choice, meaning you didn't even know it was an option to not want to do this next part because it seemed like this is the next part of life?
We didn't have the capability of expressing it.
Yeah. Thanks for explaining that.
Yeah.
It was so a part of your reality that there was no concept that there would be something other than this.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not an option. Are you ready? Everyone is ready. All my friends, when they were 18, they got engaged. I was kind of excited that I'm not going to have to stay a alter bucher. Yeah,
stay behind.
Stay behind. So, yeah.
What age is an alter bracher?
When I was that age, I think if you're 19 and a half or 20, you're already out of the market, kind of. I think today is different. Today is there's a lot of programs for Bochurim in that age, and they still have yeshiva, I think, until 2021, whatever. I don't know exactly, but I think it's definitely different, that part.
Fascinating.
But when I was in yeshiva, like if you pass the age of 19, I think it was already like out of the market, kind of, and you became a little depressed, and so in a certain sense, I think every boy in yeshiva had this worry that I hope I will make it. I hope I'm not gonna stay behind. And
And what age did that worry start?
for me,
Yeah.
I wasn't really worried because I'm in the middle of a big family, and I know my father has this. I knew my father has this value of getting us engaged, and I didn't really doubt that he will be stuck with me. I know it's gonna happen, so I wasn't really worried. But also at the same time, I was excited that okay, Baruch Hashem, like I'm not gonna stay. Like I confirmed that.
Yeah. And what was it like for you, Henchy?
So mainly, like my parents did it for me. Like all the suggestions went through them, and I guess when a name come up and it seemed to be like very interesting, and the other side was ready, they would do like intense research, and then like a day before I met the boy, my parents told me about it, and it was the age like I didn't really have like a self. So, but I just like, I felt like at the age of 18 and a half, like everyone is getting engaged. It's such an exciting time, but nothing deeper, like in terms of connection and relationships and knowing like, the later on in life, like what it really means, marriage and, like true love, etc.
Yeah.
So a day before I met the boy, my parents just told me, like, they got a suggestion and it looks very interesting. So I did have the courage just to tell them, like, I felt very uncomfortable, sitting down with a boy, not knowing anything about him, not seeing even a picture. So I did request if I can just meet him, like see him unofficially. So I should have that vision when I sit down with him, who I'm actually going to speak to. So we actually went to a local store, and he was like between the aisles, and I just like unofficially from the sidelines, I gave a peek, and then we left. And actually, I remember it was the shortest Friday of the year. And we went to someone's house, and we sat down. We were talking like it was a very superficial conversation, nothing very personable, like, what's your outlook in life? Nothing of that sort. And then like after 45 minutes, my parents came in and we went into a different room, and my parents asked me, so what do you say? So I said, I don't know. I have no clue. Like, what should I say? Okay. So my mother said, okay, I guess if it's a maybe, then it's a yes. And the rest and that's where it happened.
Whoa. Firstly, kudos to you for being brave and asking for some sort of visual, because I would imagine that's probably not something that was common.
I assume like it's very individual. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what an experience. And while you're, I guess what typically happens after when you get engaged at the basho, what happens next? Like when, let's say it sounds like you're asked by a parent, do you like I don't know if the word is like, I don't know what the question is. What happens after that first basho?
Okay, so after the first basho, they ask, like, is it a yes or a no? And I guess, most kids, like, the boys and girls, either they say yes or no. And I guess some say maybe, or I don't know. I don't know what to say.
And sometimes that I don't know is translated into a yes.
Sometimes into a yes and sometimes into a no. Sometimes into a second one. Yeah.
And what's it usually based off of if you're not sure what to look out for? Comfort level or interest or attraction?
Both, yeah. All of the above, yeah.
And what usually happens after that? So let's say someone says that they are interested in getting married to the person.
Yeah, l'chaim, mazel tov.
On the spot.
Yeah.
Then you go back. So he's with his parents, and then you go back together.
Usually both parents are there,
okay.
And they come out and they ask how was, like, are you ready? Yeah, okay, so let's drink l'chaim.
And other people come? Is that like it's
So
a public
every
l'chaim or
family
private
does it
l'chaim?
differently. Some
Yeah.
people do like l'chaim on the spot, like privately, and then they make a huge
Like a
vart.
few hours later, they do like another celebration
Okay.
party.
Yeah, every person does it differently.
And then what does the process look like after the l'chaim until the wedding? Do they see each other? Is it quick? Is it long?
So you talk about where we grow up. So where we grew up, it's not acceptable to see each other. I mean, most of the families don't do it. They don't talk. Most of them don't talk. And yeah, it's usually very long. And the main reason is because there are no halls available. Like, it's so busy.
That's why?
Yeah.
I thought it's like to get older.
No.
Oh.
The main reason is because they don't have where to marry
Wow.
off.
Good real estate, I guess. Open up a wedding hall.
Yeah, all the halls are busy every single night, and usually the second half of the month they don't marry off. There's a minhag, something.
No,
like
the last few days of the month, right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
last
think
few
the
days?
last few
Okay.
days of the month. Like there's a minhag that you marry
Yeah,
off.
so but whenever you could marry off, all the halls are busy, and people are waiting. Like the second you ask what they do after the bishul, I think the second after l'chaim they start looking for halls, like to make sure there's available night.
Whoa. And so that process of how the two of you dated, how the two of you had your bishos, was that something that, I know it's a funny word, but was that something that you think still works today? Is there anything about that you would change? Did you feel like that was good for you? Did you feel like that wasn't good for you?
I think my husband is the professional. He does this all day and all night. So maybe Shlomi, you answer.
Are you asking if it was good for us or if other
No,
people?
if it still works.
I don't think it. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that's the way the community does it, and I respect the community for doing what they're doing. I don't look down at them. I think it's in a certain sense, there's a lot of very successful marriages in the community that comes out from doing this. So I wouldn't say it's wrong or it's not wrong. I would say for me personally, it didn't work at all. I would say for me personally, taking me out of yeshiva, and I never thought about my future, and I never knew like what marriage is about. I never knew like what's the definition of being married, and I didn't know anything. And for me personally, it was a disaster. It took me a while, like, to realize, to realize that I'm alive, that I'm like, yeah, to realize what's happening and what is marriage. And so for me personally, it didn't work. Yeah, but I would say, like, you're asking if it works in general. Like, I can't say it doesn't work. I believe if people do it right, I believe there's a right way. There is a very good way to do it in the same way that was done to me. Like, if you talk to your children, if you have communication, if you prepare them, and if you have the right, you do the right research before doing a shidduch.
I think if you're doing it the right way, it could be very successful.
And what would that, I'm curious to hear a little bit more about, I don't know anything about the work that you do. Sounds like, I wonder if it was inspired by your experience. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure, yeah, it was definitely inspired by my experience. Basically, I am a marriage counselor. That's number one. I'm helping a lot of couples get back to their dream life. And number two, I developed the past few years a course that's called Kshurim that helps, it guides parents how to do shidduch with their kids. Basically a course for Chasidic parents how to do shidduch with the kids. And it was definitely inspired by what I went through, because I believe there are certain points that people can do before going into a shidduch that can save the children's lives.
Yeah.
I really believe so. I mean, I got married, and Baruch Hashem, I have 3 wonderful kids from a first marriage. And I'm blessed to have them, but at the same time, it's extremely painful not to live with them. And they had to go through this. And the same is with Henchy, like, she came in with 4 kids. for beautiful kids. And they have to still go through having a stepfather, having a real father. Like, it's very, very challenging. And when I see couples, like I'm doing marriage, since I got married to Henchy, I started to guide couples. That wasn't my profession, just people came to me and I started to talk to people.
Started in a bedroom in our house. That's where,
That was the office.
yeah. That's where his practice started. The first couple came.
Yeah.
And we actually say that marriage and they're like beyond happy and
Yeah, so I'm saying when I see a couple, and so many times I see couples right after the wedding.
Mhm.
I had it more than once, unfortunately, in the Sheva Bruches. The couple came and they look at each other and they ask, like, why did we do it? Like, what? Like, we have nothing in common.
Yeah.
And we want to get divorced. Like, in the middle of Sheva Bruches, they're going to celebrate tonight and dance. It's so heartbreaking. And when I see that, like, that inspired me to go out there and talk to parents about it. Like, don't do this with your kids.
Mm.
And when you have just a little bit of guidance how to do shidduch in the right way, everything is amazing. And I'm not trying to change anything. That's the uniqueness of my course. I'm giving a course literally how to do the same thing as the community is doing, but do it in a thoughtful way, do it in a healthy way. So, like, go to the bishul, don't go to dates, but ask information properly, prepare your child, talk to your child before. Don't just come like suddenly to your child, okay, tonight we're doing it. And your child has no idea what's happening. So that's basically what I'm doing. And I'm so grateful that I can do that. And like this week, I got a phone call. I really, appreciate a phone call from parents that came to me for advice how to do shidduch. And they called me up and they said, I just want to tell you how happy we are that we didn't do the shidduch that we almost did.
Wow.
Because we just, like, after taking your advice, we just realized that our child would be devastated. Our child would be miserable if we do the shidduch. I felt so good because, like, people are busy with solutions, and that's part of our community. I think the whole Jewish community is amazing and reactivity. They're busy, like, you have a tzollah, you have chabayrim, you have, like, any problem you have a solution. But it's unfortunately not so common to be proactive. How can we be proactive and make sure that our child shouldn't suffer?
Yeah.
But there is beautiful organizations for children from divorced homes. Beautiful organizations, and I really appreciate all the organizations for doing what they're doing. But I don't think there are organizations to prevent that.
Yeah.
And I believe just with a few hours, like, knowledge, you can prevent so much.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you, what do people do? Firstly, before I even continue, that's extraordinary. I think you're the first of your kind as your community. And this is the best platform for us to hear about it. So I'd love to hear more of what people are doing that isn't good and what people should do that's better, if you're comfortable sharing, because I would imagine that your episode will attract a lot of people who are from your community. And we want to enhance, we want to enrich everything the podcast stands for, is taking a conversation that we're not talking about and talking about it, so that we don't need to have the conversation. So, as you mentioned, Haval, that there should be broken marriages. Why don't we have the conversation beforehand so that we have healthy, happy marriages? So are you first willing to share a bit more about that?
Yeah, I'm not only willing, I'm very excited.
Thank you. We'll be right back to our episode, but first I want to welcome you to join me in the mitzvah of give a little tzedakah. That's right. Giving tzedakah has never been easier with the Kol Chabad Tzedakah Pushka app. I give tzedakah before my episodes in the hopes that it hits you in the right space. And if you're looking for an extra merit, within seconds, you have it. So download the free Kol Chabad Tzedakah Pushka app so that you can join me in this mitzvah. So download the free Kol Chabad Tzedakah Pushka app today. So give us some examples of what are things that have been done and things that you think should be done better.
Yeah, so I think I already gave some, but I can elaborate a little bit.
Yes.
The fact that you're not communicating with your child about life, meaning your child is 17, 18, like in my case, and I'm seeing it very gently. I'm not seeing because Shlome in a way of blaming. I have wonderful parents and I have a wonderful family. And I know, like, I want to add something interesting that I actually thought this morning. When I was a child, I had a lot of questions. The way how shidduch worked in my community. A lot of like interesting, like, and the only answer I got was, when you will become older, you will understand, right? And Shimon was being elkiest to verstehen. That was the only answer, and I always laughed about it. And I recently realized that I'm not laughing anymore. I actually started to understand. And what I started to understand is that everyone is wonderful. Everyone means well, and everyone wants to do, I think. And people, like the same way we have journeys, our parents had journeys. They went through tremendously difficulties in their lives. They grew up with Holocaust survivors. Like the older I become, I realize that, oh, I didn't have it. My father was a human being. My mother was a human being. And they had so much traumas in their life that I can't even start to understand how they went through this and how they.
Generational traumas.
Yeah. And so I like literally, the older I become, I blame less and I look more at people as human beings and I see their journeys. So I just wanted to add this because I'm not here to blame anyone for what happened or for what still happens. Like everyone has their own understanding in lives and journeys. But I do want to say that when I became engaged, the fact that I didn't know anything and I was like, no one told me anything about life and why is it? So I think this is something that parents can do differently.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
When you say life, do you mean relationships, like specifically between a husband and wife, or do you mean life in general when it comes to navigating the unknown, the challenge?
Maybe like emotional identities.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm talking really about life. I think relationships will connect that level. But I talk about life in general. I believe if parents can be open with their children, like about realness, like you sit at the Shabbos table and you discuss life, you discuss like real conversations without like besides of sharing the words, you also talk real talk.
Like your
Tangible things.
feelings, opinions, challenges, struggle.
Yeah, be open, be vulnerable, be emotional.
You should get to know your kids.
Mm.
Like you have to know. It doesn't mean like you have a picture perfect family and this is how all your kids are going to turn out to, or like every child has a different soul, a different tafkid. And yeah.
Do you feel like things are usually more transactional or maybe less personal in the families?
Possibly.
Yeah, so that's a huge that's something that parents can do and can like when you help your child think about life. I think that's a huge
It's a bonus.
preparation. It's prepared the child for the future, and also I believe parents, like one of the points I share in my courses is the best thing you can do for your child's future is to have a good marriage. Because if your child sees a role model, like the child, like I unfortunately hit the last frontier, just why should I get married? Like I never saw any couple that's happy. I never saw any couple that has a good relationship. I hear that from children. Like recently, a lot of teenagers come to my practice and discuss that, like, why should I do it? And I believe two things. I believe you should do anything possible to strengthen your relationship with your spouse and give for your child a good example, number one. And number two, if you struggle, I believe it's okay to share that with your children, that this is not how life should be. Like,
yeah, we're all human beings. No one is perfect. We make mistakes and we learn from them and we grow from them.
Yeah.
nice. Right. Tati, Mom, you're trying to figure it out, like we're maybe going for help, maybe not, whatever it is. But you will have a wonderful life. I mean, life doesn't look like that. Like, and I feel that saying. I know some parents are struggling in the marriage, but it's not. It doesn't like it. It doesn't. It's not fair for the children to have this image of this is life.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if you can be open with your kids about relationships, I think that's huge. And also, I believe that it's important to get them to think about the opposite gender to a certain extent. I think it's important for a boy to think that he is going to live with a girl for the rest of his life in the same opposite for a girl to him. I think it's important to think about that when he or she are coming to the show, they should look at it, oh, so he or she is going to be my partner for the rest of the life. So I have to think about it in a mature way. I think that's huge. I mean, it could be like, it makes a huge difference when a child thinks about it in this way or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of points. I mean,
yeah, these are so important. It's preparing a child to understand what they should strive for. And I'm hearing a lot of helping them develop personally, instead of saying, you'll understand later, help them understand now so that by the time later comes, they're prepared to deal with later.
Right. And give them the option to ask questions. I think once your child is a teenager, the child should be able to ask any question about relationship, about life, about the body issues, about everything that goes on. Give them the ability to talk and to think and to explore. I mean, if you do that, you can be more secure that when your child is in the age of shidduch, they know what they're talking about. Like, yes, no, maybe, like, you're thinking, they know, like, it's a real thing. It's something that's going to, yeah.
And what do you think might hold a couple back from encouraging their child to ask questions?
I would say it's fear. Fear of the unknown. Maybe not having the answers.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And if a couple is secure in their own relationship or in their own view of self, they would have no idea of where to even begin. Do you have couples that come to you that have been married for long periods of time too, who feel like they're in a relationship, but they haven't, or I should say, they coexist, but they're not in a relationship?
Yeah, I do. I did have this experience. I actually recently had a couple, that were married for 20 years and they had a number of kids. And they actually came, like, they both said, we want to get divorced. Can you help me? So my first response was, I'm not best. And I'm sure if he came to share with me that you want to get divorced, you're looking for a different response, right? Like, it's not like, so they smile. So I had a conversation with them for like 30, 15 minutes, and then I asked them, let me ask you something. Do you want to get divorced from whom? I'm not getting it. And they both look at me, what do you mean? Like, being each other. And I told them, but after our conversation, it seems like you were never married. So you want to get divorced, maybe you want to get married. Like, you don't want to live like that. That's your point, right? You want me to help you get married. So I told them, this is what we're going to do. Give me 6 months. I'm going to help you get married. And if it doesn't work, I'll help you with a divorce. And Baruch Hashem, they're doing amazing here.
Whoa.
So I'm saying, yeah, Baruch Hashem, I had couples that they lived together for years. You're trying to create a relationship. Like, sometimes they come from a place of nothing and they want to create something.
Yeah.
And that's part of, like, anyone that listens and that they can take the same course. Sometimes when we marry with our kids, it's more like, it's very automatic. Like, sometimes when you belong to a certain system, things are going automatic. Like, well, what do you say?
Robotic.
Yeah. Without thinking, without like it's not like you just have to get married, like boys and girls, like that's what we're doing. Like, he goes to college, she goes to work, like it's like I hear a lot of
It's not good out. Yes.
yeah. I hear a lot of complaints, especially of people that part of these kind of communities, and especially from the wives. They're telling me like, we come home after the night of Chasana, and my husband tells me I love you. What are you talking about? You don't love me? We weren't talking for the whole engagement. We were like, you have no idea who I am. And the wife tells me like, I ask her husband, why do you say that? It's my husband never said. Like, my husband said that's what you should tell your wife at the night of the wedding. So the problem is when they're not educated what is love, and like when I ask them, like, what would you like to hear at the night of the wedding, usually they reply, I would like to hear, I'm excited to get to know you. Like, I'm looking forward to love you.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to connect with you. So I'm saying the more you can educate your kids, the idea of love and relationships, and what is it, and I think that's a very secure, you're basically securing the future. And they don't have to come after 20 years and say, like, you want to get divorced.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so unfamiliar, and you're both experts in your life. So my next question is asked with respect. Is love a consideration in Hasidic relationships when it comes to choosing a life partner?
It's a very hard question.
I think love is everything. You're saying in Hasidic relationships. So again, I don't want to talk about the general. Every person does it differently. It's definitely becoming much better. And people, I think today's generation, what I see, the generation today, they must be very real, and they're looking for real, authentic relationships. And like a boy told me yesterday, like, if I can't have this and this and this in my life, I want to stay single forever. And I told him, wow, yeah, like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, you don't want to just get married and suffer. Like, why? I want to have love. I want to have someone in my life that really appreciates me. Otherwise, I want to stay single. So again, to answer your question, I definitely believe that there's a lot of families that they focus on that when they're looking for a partner for their child. They do focus on love, and of course, like every community, there's like space to grow. Like, there's you can do better. Everyone can do better, and yeah.
I think like from Europe initially, when everyone had just got persecuted and people were seeking life partners, initially they were seeking protection, security, safety. So at that time, I don't think love was a consideration. It was who can keep me safe, who can give me a roof over my head. And I wonder how much of that fear has been perpetuated onto further generations without taking into consideration that we've evolved, that our times have changed, that our needs have changed. So if our need then was this urgency for continuity, my family of 11 was just persecuted, let's get married and build a family very fast. You have a job. I'm seeking a partner. I wonder if that tradition has continued, but our needs have changed. And if that's the case, then the formula is going to contradict itself, because that's not our need anymore.
Right.
And what I'm hearing from you is that you're sensing that there's a new need and you're trying to introduce it into an old tradition. And the tradition isn't wrong. It's just a question of whether it's addressing a need of this generation or an old need of a different generation, or a need of a generation that's living an old lifestyle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, because I think what you just mentioned, I do see, there's something called shidduch crisis, right? And I believe it causes a lot of tremendous fear. And I believe that, sometimes, like, and a lot of people in the community, probably, and everywhere, especially in build-up cultures, people have tremendous fear. Like I mentioned before, that I don't want to end up like them. I don't want to end up like I can't see my son being this old boy or my daughter being this old girl, not being like I can't see that. So I have to have whatever is on the table. Like I constantly hear this. Like when I give my webinars for sure, I constantly hear this fear. I can't like I allow a chance. It's a perfect match. My daughter said she's not ready. I can't respect that. Like she will stay single. So this is a tremendous fear. And it goes back to what you were saying, because people want to survive. They just want to they want to secure their child, like they shouldn't stay single forever.
So rather stay unhappily married.
Yeah, I don't want to say happy.
But their intention is pure. It's just not a thought out plan. It's not a thought out design plan.
Exactly. And sometimes when we have a child in shidduch, we have to work on ourselves to be okay with Hashem, be okay with Hashem's plan, and just like let Hashem be there. Like you can't like, if Hashem wants your child to stay single for a while, this is gonna happen. So if you want to like, no, I'm not gonna let Hashem, like I'm gonna give him a partner, give her a partner, they might struggle for the rest of their lives, and people should know that, because it always bothers me, because there's a lot of talk about this shidduch crisis, and there's less talk. Like I don't see videos of people that struggle, and the number is huge. And people don't know. Like people dance with the chasana, it's beautiful. Everyone is happy, and so many times the couple go, well, they don't have a good time. No one talks about it. Everyone is done with the chassan shidduchos, and they look at the calendar for the next chassan. But this couple is staying together, and they don't have a good time, and they wander out to match houses. In the best case, they get divorced. I mean, I hate to say it, but sometimes they stay and struggle forever. And no one talks about it. You only hear shidduch occurrences, and you have to, like, boys and girls, like, and we have to be careful. So I do believe that it's a time when you have a child in shidduch, it's a time for you to connect to Hashem and to let go and to say, like, I'm not running the world. If it's the shade for my child to say no, I would do that. I don't want my child to suffer. That's the worst thing.
It's like people forget that Hashem exists when it comes to shidduchim.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to notice what results when we forget Hashem exists, and instead we turn to pressure and fear. And it all sounds like settling because we're so afraid of the unknown. It doesn't lead to good results when we leave Hashem out of the picture. And everything you're saying is really MS. And when a person is afraid, when a person has fear, they lose their faith. They lose MS. And I'm also hearing from you that it's more than just educating, than training them now when they're ready to start shidduchim. But it sounds like it would be so valuable for it to start in the schools and with the chassan and kala classes. Do you have chassan kala classes or chassan kala?
Yes, of course.
Teachers? So it almost sounds like they should hear your course.
The chassan kala.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason why I didn't go there, because I like in the communities, the parents are like in the Hasidic communities, the parents are mainly the ones that they are making the decisions. And what I'm trying to say is, I think it's beautiful. I think one of the core differences between the Hasidic community and the Litvish communities is, by the Hasidic communities, it's more like the parents are doing intense research before coming to the child and say, you can go out. And if you do it, like I said before, if you do it the right way, it could be beautiful. If you make the research the way it should be made, it should be done. Like I have a special course of information, like how to ask information and how to get the right info, not just to ask, like, is he a good boy or a good girl? Everyone says, like, I have a very clear,
Guidelines.
guideline. I'm saying one clear, point is, any question that you know the answer is a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like anytime you ask a question and you know what the answer is going to be, like don't ask. Like, is she a good girl? No, she's not. Like what?
Yeah, everyone is amazing when it comes to shidduch.
Amazing. I get promised that he is going to bring Mashiach. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
And
I'm saying when the parents are doing it the right way, and then they come to the child and they tell the child, we have this amazing shidduch for you. And that's the most important part. They have to tell the child that you should know that to read it our best and it looks amazing, but this is your life. And now it's up to you.
let the child make the decision.
Yeah, and it's conversations. It's not just a statement. Like it's conversations with the child. You have to choose. So that's the reason I'm giving the course for the parents for now, because I believe if parents do it the right way, it's like it's up to them to yeah.
Have you received any opposition or pushback from people who had seen your course or heard you're doing this say, what are you doing? Everything works. You shouldn't do this.
Yeah, some. Mostly I hear a lot of positivity. People are really appreciate of what I'm doing. And hear a lot of good feedback. And also the good part is I'm not really trying to change anything. Like I'm just adding value to what's already happening. I'm not here to change the system or I'm just adding value. It's like you can buy something in a restaurant and you just add a tomato and a potato. That's what I do. I'm not telling you to buy something else. I'm just telling you do the same thing. Continue doing what you're doing, but just do it with thoughtful and the right.
Yeah. And where do your clients come from? Will hear review? Or how do they hear review? Do you have social media?
I do have social media, but most of my clients actually come from civil referral organizations that they refer people to come. I'm doing marriage counseling for the past 11 years, so that's how I became known, and I'm an expert in personality disorders, like in this kind of stuff. So people know me from that angle. And now with the courses is mainly what I'm marketing and I'm putting in social media. But I would say most of my clients come from referral organizations, and also not that people are referring to each other, like if they have a family member and they hear it. Yeah, that's.
Are they from Monroe, Muncie, Brooklyn?
All over.
Yeah.
Very universal.
My office is in Muncie, but I have clients from all.
Beautiful. Wait, so if you're helping the men, Henchy, are you helping the women? How does that work?
I'm trying to persuade you.
I'm just on there. I'm trying to, work around my home, helping my kids, building their resilience. And look, I thought I was very, very hesitant when I got the message if I should just take this on.
Sure.
I was never in the spotlight before. And whatever, like I had a discussion with my husband. At first glance, when I got the message, I was like, I know you got the wrong number. But then I didn't want to say no before discussing that with my husband. So we discussed it. And after giving it a lot of thought, I told my husband, you know what? If there's even one person that I can inspire, then it's worth sharing my story.
Very brave. Very brave. Very, 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 very brave. I'm amazed and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Very brave. Well, so I want to know, the two of you are pioneering together is unbelievable. I want to know how the two of you got introduced. Did you do a show the second time around? What was different?
No, not at all. We did intense dating. So actually, we were both married for 10 years. And then he got divorced right away. I waited for my get, quite a while. So he knew about me, but I did not know about him. Like his siblings, and they were waiting for a year that I should get my get. And so actually I got my get. And 2 days after I got my get, my brother calls me And I was so happy. I figured, okay, Baruch Hashem, I got my get. Now it's time to settle down, to process. And I thought to myself, it's for sure, like before 2 years, like I don't want to even think of anything. I want to just, maintain everything and help my kids grow emotionally and even just find myself. There is a lot going on.
Yeah.
And I needed a lot of time, self-reflection and everything. So 2 days after I got my get, my brother calls me randomly. I'm sorry. And he told me, like, I have a friend, he has a suggestion for you. And I told him, are you crazy? What do you mean a suggestion? I literally got my get 2 days ago. I need time. I don't even know what I want. I'm not ready. And he was like, he called me like 5 times that day. Please, you know what? Just go out once with him and then I'm just gonna leave you alone. Like, it's fine. Just go out once. I want to get this done and over. It's like, he's a great shadchan. And I'm telling you, the funniest thing is that it was the only shidduch that he ever did, that guy.
Nothing like a good Jewish embellishment. Mm-hmm.
So he was like begging me. So after a while, I figured, okay, let me just do it for him. And, let me get it over, done with, and then I'll just move on. Mm-hmm. And the rest was history. Like, we went out and I don't remember ever being so confused when coming home from that date. That night, I couldn't sleep. I was very confused because, like, I couldn't say no. And also, like, I couldn't say yes. Like, why am I saying yes? Like, I don't know what I want. I need time. I need to help my kids. My kids needed me. And even myself. I was trying to find myself. I needed something. I wanted to connect. I wanted to find Hashem. Like, that's what I was yearning for. Like, a relationship with Hashem. And, but then he wanted to leave to Israel for a trip. So he told me like 2 days afterwards, he said like he's leaving to Israel for about a week. And he would love to meet me for a short day, just even like for 30 minutes before he leaves. Because I didn't say no yet. So he came to my work, he picked me up, I went out for my lunch break. And I was I'm not gonna lie, inside of me, like I got a little bit excited, but I was trying to push it away. And, from there on, I think for about 6 to 8 weeks, we were dating. I think my husband has the exact count of how many hours we spoke. It was a lot, no?
That's right.
No?
I'm not sure. I don't, maybe.
But yeah, we spent a lot of time. And, I think, for me, after the third, fourth day, I knew it's gonna happen. It was a yes, but whatever, he still wanted to get to know me and see, what my values are, what am I looking at for life. And it was very complex because he had 3 kids, I had 4 kids, and there was a lot of book about that. A blended family is tough. It's very hard. Sometimes it's still hard. Blending a family is work, but it's sacred work.
Yeah.
So it's worth it.
I feel like I could feel all of the toil the two of you have invested in yourselves and in one another in order to come out with this dream. You started off the conversation with, I want to help people find their dream. What the two of you, how long have you been married for?
11 years.
11 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Two of you look very, very young. What reflecting now with what the two of you have created, did you ever know that this is what a relationship could be like? Like when you were, 17, 18?
To be honest, no.
That's incredible. What about you?
78, 99.
No idea.
No, I'm very grateful that I met Henchy. She's wonderful, and I think we are still evolving, meaning we're growing and we're getting more and more connected to a deeper and deeper level. I think it takes a lifetime to really get to know each other and to build a real loving and a real connection. That's something I learned daily. That it's not like I like to tell it today to my clients because I'm experiencing it myself. Like, I had some dating clients from different communities and I'm a dating coach. So, and it's like, I'm telling, it's not like when you've done dating, you know your partner, like you make a decision, like, you know, maybe 2%, 3%, 5%, but you know enough to tell this person that I'm happy to get to know you. Meaning I'm happy to build a life together and to do it together. I mean, like, it's not like when we were dating, I think we were both very confident. After making the decision, we really felt confident that this has potential, but we didn't really know each other to a level of, yes, like we're connected and I think we were both looking forward of what's going to happen, of the potential of experiencing it. And yeah.
Mm. And you both seem to be very connected to emotional intelligence and emotional awareness. How would you say that your own processes of challenge led you to challenge yourself, to learn more about yourself, to discover what you liked, didn't like, what you felt?
So I learned to navigate life's challenges with grace. And when you know that everything comes from Hashem, like, I'm not saying, sometimes I still have hard times. But when you know that it comes from Hashem, it's easier to work with it and go through it. Because ultimately, Hashem is giving it to me. So he only wants, good for me, the good. So I'm not saying like, I try not to push away the pain. Like, I can connect to the pain, I sit with the pain. I can even ask Hashem, like, Hashem, I don't always understand you. I don't understand Hashem. But I never stopped wanting closeness with him. Like, I always tried, like, like the more challenges, like, he would send me, or Hashem, like, I have a lot more to be grateful for. But I can't give up, like, not being connected to Hashem. Like, this is really what saves me.
Yeah.
And throughout my journey, that's what I found. And that's what I was missing.
That connection is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say, Shleipi? Do you feel like you got to this place of insight and self-awareness when learning how to navigate through your own journey?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm still navigating it. So I work very hard to find my own path, find who I am, find what I want, and be confident in myself, be confident in my mission, be confident and because I grew up in a huge, big community, and like it's hard sometimes to find
Individuality.
Yeah, so it's hard to find it. So I did a lot of work to find myself, find the individual me, and trust myself more and be more confident with who I am, and of course be connected to Hashem, like Henchy saying, and yeah, and this helps me a lot. It helps me in everything. It helps me to stay focused on my mission, on my personal life, family life, and every aspect.
And what would you say would be your takeaways for people on what lessons you would share based on how you live your life now? Like, what would be your 3 lessons that you live by that you think might be important to share? Because the two of you, I feel like, have so much to offer. And I just sort of want to hear what are 3 of the things that you think of that might be helpful to share?
There is a second chance, and the second chance is real. So I'm very, very grateful to that.
So important.
Yeah. And healing is possible. And amazing things can come out of it. And sometimes, like I said before, sometimes it's hard. But when you know that you're doing sacred work, it's everything.
Powerful. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's bad.
Right. And what else?
Very well said. I mean, we could like Rashi and Ramban and Klayakar, all of those are extremely important, especially to hear that second chances exist. And second chances might mean the next day, the next week, the next month. It could mean if you're in a relationship now that feels broken, you know who to reach out to. If you were in a relationship and now you're divorced or you're waiting for your get or you don't know what to do and you're separated, doesn't mean it's the end.
For sure. Like there are times, like I had times when I felt so lonely. Shabbos, my kids went out. No one knew. Like I didn't want to tell anyone because I was like a regular person. I'm not that nerd, nothing. I didn't want like any stigma. Like, no, this is what happened to me. But still, like I'm normal. And I was really trying to put that up. So Shabbos, I didn't want to tell anyone. I was home by myself. I didn't want to go to anyone. No one knew. I made like a core Shabbos meal. No one should know. Nothing. But still, like, and it took me, like, I did a lot of, self-reflection. And there's like one pasuk until that really like walked me through. The pasuk, Kam ki eilach v'getzim agsleir ki atim ledi. So with that, like sometimes you can feel so low and it's dark. You don't know what the next day is going to bring you. But I knew that even in that darkness, in that tunnel, like Hashem, you're with me. You're with me. So I'm safe. Whatever is going to happen, I'm safe. So that's really like, that helped me a lot.
And so lonely, those Shabbos.
Yeah.
And I there's so many people that can relate to you sharing. Wait, how could this happen to me? I'm a classy, dignified, confident, like calculated, smart individual. How can this happen to me? And divorce can break so much shame and embarrassment, especially because it's so public.
It takes tremendous courage.
Which is why I'm also so grateful that you came here to share. Tremendous courage. I think that especially single moms are one of the bravest people I know. Single moms. And then to stay religious and be a single mom. And then years ago, yeah.
I never thought of leaving religion or like rebellion didn't talk to me. I just wanted a very like real, authentic way of life. So that's what I was searching all my life. I want something very authentic and I need to find the authentic way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can definitely do that. Like you don't need to leave religion. You don't need to rebel. Just search for the truth.
Beautiful. Thank you, Henchy. So well said. Ooh, feel like I got a touch of your heart there. What would you share from your experience or some lessons you learned?
I learned a lot of lessons. I learned that life can be extremely challenging, and you never know. Like what's waiting for you, and the more you prepare, the better off you are. And the way to prepare, like there's a few things. There's one thing of you have to become more connected to yourself and to Hashem. I think it goes together. I think the more you're connected to yourself, the more you're connected to Hashem. And don't let yourself don't ever like leave yourself alone. Don't betray yourself. Don't let yourself stay miserable because of shame or because of low confidence, or like always stick up for yourself, because if you're not going to stick up for yourself, no one will. And it's important to know also as parents. I think that's what I learned in my own experience, that our decisions as parents can shape the life of our children in a very big way. And the more we can accept ourselves, I think our children appreciate it. I think our children love to see when we are taken care of, when we are in a good place. Especially when people go through what we went through during divorce, and the children are really like worried, and usually they don't talk about it. Like they worry for the parents. They want the parents to do good, and they want the parents to be in a good place. And I think it's very important to give it for them. Like I think the more we take care of us, the more they appreciate. And sometimes, like we experience it, we're going out a lot for dates. I mean, it's something that we promised each other when we were dating, that we have to date every week. Like we can't leave a week without dating. We're trying to stick to it. Sure. And sometimes the children can be very upset. Like, you know, now, I mean, now they're older, but they used to be. And what we found is like the children feel so secure when the two of us are in a good place. When they feel that we are doing good, they feel calm, they feel secure. I think that's something to consider, that when parents spend time and they leave the children alone, or wherever they are in their room having conversations and enjoying, and the children are basically left alone. But there's such a good feeling for kids that our parents are in a good place and they're taken care of.
Feel safe and secure. It's like one of the best things you could do is invest in each other. Take that time to continue to get to know one another, because then you create that atmosphere that brings the safety of the home that you're trying so hard to create. Beautiful. Wow. And if anybody wants to contact you, we'll put your email address in the show notes below. Or is there another way they should reach out to you?
Yeah, I can give my email, or you can put it in the notes. My email address is kesheremail@gmail.com. KESHER email@gmail.com.
Wonderful. This has been very, 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 very exciting. I'm so grateful that you're doing your work. It's so important. I almost feel like it's pikuach nefesh. It's souls, people's lives. And I just can't wait to see what happens, what else you do together as a couple. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
So what did you think? Do you know how much courage it takes to come on a platform and share your deepest parts of your growth with the world, in the hopes of believing that maybe it could create change for someone else? Maybe it could alleviate the pain that someone else is going through. That's what Shlome and Henchy did today. And if you are grateful, the best way to say thank you is by letting them know in the comments section below. Listen, it's really, really hard to create change, historical change, traditional change that has been really part of our legacy for decades. It's hard to do alone. And that's what Shlome and Henchy are trying to do. And if there's any way you can help by sharing your thoughts and feelings, by spreading their message, by being a representative of their beliefs, then they need you. They cannot do it alone. I would love to hear what you thought of this episode. So please share your thoughts and feelings, of course, always warm, encouraging, and insightful, and of course, questionable in the comment section below. Because at Stories of Hope, we're here to inspire, to educate, and to grow. So thank you for being here once again. If you have thoughts or feelings or nominations, please let me know at soh@meaningfulminute.org. Otherwise, so grateful to have you here. Cannot wait to see you next week.